Picture this. Stadiums packed with millions of screaming fans obsessing over every pass, goal, and play, while right next door, another huge crowd couldn't care less, scrolling past scores without a second thought. What's going on in those brains that make some people live and breathe sports while others stay totally chill? Neuroscience is starting to show it's not laziness or apathy, it's wiring, dopamine loops, and even genetics. By the end of this video, you'll see those obsessed fans in a whole new light, and maybe even understand why your friends can't stop talking stats. If sports aren't your thing, relax. You're not lazy or missing out. Only about 30% of people follow every game like it's life or death, and that's because their brains react more strongly to wins, social bonding, and cheering with the crowd. So why do so many people care so much? It's not just habit, it's brain wiring, genes, and social instincts. Meanwhile, fans who do obsess are wired differently in a surprisingly fascinating way. Not obsessing actually frees up your mind for your own passions, hobbies, and projects. Humans are wired to connect with groups. That's Survival 101. Back in the day, sticking with the pack kept you safe and fed. Today, obsessing over sports is a modern twist on that instinct. Cheering, strategizing, and celebrating with fans triggers oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and dopamine, the reward chemical. Wild, right? Your brain lights up like it's back in the tribal camp. Non-fans aren't broken, they just find those social bonding hits elsewhere. But for some, this wiring goes even further, pushing them to obsess in ways most of us can't quite imagine. Ever wonder why some people live and die by sports scores while others scroll past without a care? Obsessors and non-obsessors differ in how strongly they feel us versus them. Fans experience tribal instincts intensely. Every win, loss, or rivalry hits like a social spotlight. Non-fans, in contrast, value independence over group identity. A 2019 study found people less caught up in us versus them thinking have lower stress and more flexible social connections. Neither way is better, just different wiring. And for obsessors, this wiring fuels dopamine loops that make checking scores irresistible. Following sports lights up obsessors' brains like a reward machine. Every goal, play, or stat triggers dopamine, the feel-good chemical, creating anticipation like opening a surprise gift. fMRI studies show that not knowing the score makes the reward even bigger, just like a slot machine. Their brains get hooked on that thrill, chasing wins and social excitement constantly. Non-fans don't experience the same dopamine rush, which is why scrolling past scores feels effortless. And here's the kicker. Part of this difference might actually come down to genetics, shaping how reward systems respond in each of us.
Some people's brains just don't light up the same way over sports, and genetics partly explains why. Studies, including research from the University of Chicago, show variations in dopamine-related genes affect reward responses. This changes how social victories feel to different people. Obsessors bask in reflected glory, saying "we won" instead of "they won," reinforcing their dopamine loop. Non-fans don't feel the same boost. Their self-concept stays stable no matter the team's performance. This wiring doesn't make one side better, but it shapes how victories, pride, and connection are experienced and sets the stage for empathy differences next. Here's a question. Ever wonder why some people freak out over a game while others barely notice? One way isn't better than the other. Both obsessors and non-fans are fascinating, and the differences might surprise you. Obsessors often score higher on empathy for group experiences, feeling collective joy or sadness. Non-fans, meanwhile, focus their empathy elsewhere: friends, family, creative projects. Neither approach is wrong, they're just tuned differently. So the next time someone obsesses over a game while you scroll past, remember, their brain wiring channels intensity their way, while yours channels it into other meaningful pursuits. Non-fans often channel energy into pursuits that give them flow and meaning, creative projects, personal hobbies, or learning new skills. A 2021 study found people less obsessed with sports score higher on openness to experience and engagement with art, music, and ideas. While obsessors get their thrill from wins and group excitement, non-fans create their own sources of satisfaction and mastery.
It's not better or worse, just different wiring. Recognizing these alternative outlets helps you appreciate non-obsessors' passions. And next, we'll see how some non-fans' choices can even reflect subtle defense mechanisms. What if not caring about sports isn't just preference, but protection? For some non-fans, past experiences like bullying, exclusion, or social pressure make obsessing stressful instead of fun. Staying detached helps them protect mental space and self-esteem. This isn't a weakness, it's a smart coping strategy. Everyone shields themselves from discomfort in different ways, and skipping the sports frenzy is just one of them. Recognizing this reframes underreaction as resilience, showing that ignoring scores or rivalries isn't apathy. It's a subtle, adaptive way to preserve well-being. Why do obsessors see every game as life or death while others barely notice? Obsessors find meaning in every play, win, or rivalry. It's their story, their narrative. Non-fans see it as random outcomes, largely meaningless in the grand scheme. Neither view is wrong. Humans crave significance, but the source is different. This difference explains why fans can't understand why others scroll past scores, and why non-fans feel baffled by intense reactions. Both are valid ways the brain searches for meaning, one through shared stories and social excitement, the other through personal priorities and calm observation. Ever wonder why some people feel like they live every game? Obsessors invest in one-sided relationships, parasocial bonds with teams, players, and commentators, experiencing victories and losses vicariously. Non-fans, however, focus on direct reciprocal engagement, friends, family, and projects that actually respond. Neither approach is superior, they're just different ways to satisfy social instincts. Understanding this explains why obsessors seem glued to screens while non-fans prioritize real-life connections. Both strategies fulfill the brain's need for social connection, one through imagined shared experience, the other through real, responsive relationships.
Ever wonder why some people get lost in games while others lose themselves in hobbies? Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi calls it flow, that state of being fully absorbed in what you're doing. Non-fans often reach flow in personal projects, hobbies, or everyday tasks, staying present in their own lives. Obsessors experience flow vicariously through games, stats, and social excitement. Neither path is better, both satisfy the brain's need for focus, meaning, and satisfaction. Non-fans' presence may seem quiet, but it's quietly radical. Recognizing this shows that paying attention differently isn't a deficit, it's another path to fulfillment. So are non-fans missing out? Not at all. Their brains are just calibrated differently. Obsessors thrive on group excitement, parasocial bonds, and dopamine loops. Non-fans find flow, meaning, and satisfaction in ways that aren't immediately obvious to others. Neither is broken or boring, they're just playing a different game with different rewards. Understanding this changes how we see obsession and indifference. Everyone's brain seeks joy and purpose in its own unique way. No path is wrong. Appreciating these differences makes human behavior richer, more fascinating, and far less judgmental. Curious to see more? Check out our next video, Why Quiet People Process the World Differently. See how subtle differences in attention, focus, and social wiring shape daily life in ways most people miss, and some of the surprises might shock you. If this video made you rethink obsession, hit like, subscribe for more brain and behavior insights, and drop a comment. Are you a hardcore fan, or do you scroll past scores like a pro? Your perspective might just change how others see the world.